The biggest astrological transit of the past decade, possibly even century or centuries, is upon us, my friends. On Sunday, January 20th, 2024, Pluto will ingress into the sign of Aquarius for the second time. Pluto did ingress into the sign of Aquarius in March of 2023, then stationed retrograde and retrograded back into Capricorn, and is now direct and headed straight for Aquarius. The last time that Pluto was in the sign of Aquarius was 1776 to 1798, and before that it was 1532 to 1553. Those of you that don't know too much about Pluto, Pluto does have approximately a 248-year erratic elliptical orbit, so it spends different amounts of time in each sign, transiting signs anywhere from 11 years to 32 years, but will spend the next 20 years in the sign of Aquarius until 2044. Because Pluto's orbit is so long, it does classify as a generational planet. In evolutionary astrology, we like to refer to Pluto as kind of like the background frequency of the collective. Some people even refer to Pluto as the soul or the collective consciousness. And the name Pluto actually came from the Roman god Pluto, and in Greek, this was Hades. In astrology, of course, Pluto is considered the planet of death and rebirth, transformation, metamorphosis, intensity, power and control, sexuality, the shadow or the subconscious, also obsessions, addictions, attachments, just plain straight survival, destruction, the hidden, the unseen. It is very shadow self-oriented. Pluto is the planet that is furthest out in our solar system and about 39 million miles away from our sun. Yes, I do know that in astronomy, Pluto is technically not considered a planet anymore, but for the purposes of astrology, Pluto is indeed considered a very powerful little planet. When I think of Pluto, I think of regeneration. It's cycles of beginnings and endings. It's very primal in nature, and in that case, it's a very constant, it's fixed because it represents death and rebirth or beginnings and endings. It's the only thing that we know for certain. Now, I do have another video on my profile if you guys are interested a little bit more about Plutonian themes, but just to give you a little bit of background information, the last time that Pluto was in Aquarius, this was 1776 and wasn't in Aquarius for good until 1778, but as most of you probably know, the Declaration of Independence was signed in 1776. So the United States of America is currently separating from their Pluto return. During Pluto's last transit through the sign of Aquarius, this was also the time of the American and the French revolutions, as well as the English Reformation and many various other things. This was around the time the first Stars and Stripes flag arrived in the United States. Previously, each colony had representation of their own colony. And this was the beginning of the end of slavery in the United States. Ironically as well, the last time Pluto was in the sign of Aquarius, the modern-day ruler of Aquarius, Uranus, was discovered. I believe it was 1781, if I'm not mistaken. So I would not be surprised if over the next 20 years we find more planets in our solar system, probably the rulers of Virgo and Taurus, since they are both dual-ruled. Mercury, which rules Gemini and Virgo currently, and Venus, which rules Taurus and Libra currently. Now, the sign of Aquarius is the 11th sign of the zodiac, the second to last sign of the zodiac. So we're getting pretty far out there with Pluto. We're coming to the end of the line. Aquarius is our fixed air sign and traditionally ruled by planet Saturn, modern day ruler being Uranus. And this is the water bearer. Aquarius is the truthsayer, the visionary, the humanitarian, and the revolutionary, as well as the exile. Aquarius rules over things like electronics, the internet, electricity itself, as well as friends, groups, and organizations coming together as a collective. It is your mental abilities and your deep insights and your vision for the future, especially for the people. Aquarius is concerned for the well-being of the people. It rules things like inventions and science, intellectual companionship, as well as things like extraterrestrials. So as you can see, we have a lot of ground to cover in the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is concerned with the freedom as well as the well-being of the people, of the collective consciousness. So you can most certainly rest assured that themes around those types of topics are bound to come up over the next 20 years as Pluto goes through and rips down anything that stands in its way of achieving what Aquarius's goals are. Now, as I mentioned, Pluto will be ingressing into Aquarius on January 20th, 2024, and then will station retrograde on May 2nd, 2024, and will be retrograde until October 11th. It will re enter Capricorn during its retrograde one more time, but after it goes direct on October 11th, it will re enter Aquarius for the final time on November 19th, 2024. All of this said, I did write a little something a few weeks ago about Pluto's ingress into Aquarius that I want to share with you. Disclaimer, this is in no way meant to generate any sort of fear. Just remember that Pluto is a planet that signifies cycles, and this is just another cycle, a completion, and it's also regeneration. So being aware of things and themes that could be coming up over the next 20 years is just giving you a heads up as well as a form of empowerment. So Pluto in Aquarius is shattering the collective consciousness into fragments so it can be rebuilt again. The Great Awakening will take place by collapsing the societal structures and reframing the collective to the fragmentation that's been forced upon us. Pluto is breaking the glass of the kaleidoscope so we can finally see things clearly. They will do everything in their power to keep people from each other, to prevent the masses from coming together. But that is exactly what we will do. By coming together in the light, they stand no chance. Aquarius is the humanitarian. This is the survival of humanity, and Pluto will destroy anything and anyone in its path of bringing the collective together. Any collective clouds will be cleared, and not in a calm and gentle way. This isn't Neptune. Pluto is going to rip off the veil of the collective, and a mass awakening will occur. Some will not be able to handle this unveiling and unfortunately may not make it. We have to come together and unite. For the next 20 years will be massive awakenings, massive unveilings, and massive ascension.